Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome to another interactive conversation of our Elevate Women series, where we speak to women leaders and field experts and learn from their valuable experiences. My name is Anna, and I'm with the Amplify team here at Empathy. With me today is Annett Kowalski. She's a managed services director at Merkle, and she's going to talk to us about her career and what she does with Merkle, sharing her knowledge and experience. Annett, it's amazing to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you in this world, and maybe 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. So my name is Annett. I'm German, born in Dresden near Berlin, and spent my childhood there. I still have my family there, but now live in Barcelona for the last 10.5 years. My journey, well, I've always lived and worked within Europe. Do like traveling, but my professional career was within Europe. After school, I did studies. It was a 3-year studies in tourism and marketing, and finished my last years of studies in Lincoln in the UK, where I did my master's in marketing and management, and then started my professional career as well in London. I remember we went on a school trip in London once when I was 12 or 13. I was like, whoa, these high-rise buildings and these women, they all look so business. I want to be that one day. And then I remember after my studies, I was like, oh, my English is pretty good now. I've done my exams are all in English. I don't want to lose that. Let's go to London. So I started my professional career in London there in different agencies, 5.5 years. And then I came to Barcelona and went client side for 7 years in the marketing department, and then joined Merkle 3.5 years ago. That's a little bit of my professional, but who am I as a person? I do like traveling. That's why initially when I didn't really know what to study, I was like, I'll do something with tourism. I've always liked traveling. I'm very active, outgoing. I like all types of sports, mostly outside. I like the mountains, the sea, running, swimming, dancing, connecting with friends, the usual, I think. Music as well. I learned an instrument as a kid, and now I'm learning piano since 4 years. It's going slow, very slow, but slow and steady wins the race, they say. I'm just keeping on the ball, and I enjoy it most of the time. Sometimes it's hard to motivate myself to practice, but then I do enjoy the little progresses that I can see. And yeah, I'm just a very sociable person. So I get energy when I'm surrounded by people, also in my free time. And 3 words. So I would say I would call myself an optimist. I always look on the bright side of things. What have I learned? Or it could have been much worse. I think that also comes from my mom and from my family, because she's also very much the optimist, looking at the good things, looking at the positive things, and that you learn. So the one is optimist. And then I have yin and yang. Maybe you count that as one, but it's technically 2 words. In a way that sometimes I like opposites. I'm super active and I'm outgoing, but then I like meditation. I like mindfulness. I need quiet space. I guess many people are not just one faceted, but then I'm very focused. I train hard. I train for races, for marathons, but I also like going out and having fun. So I'm not somebody that would get too much into very healthy nutrition, too much on the healthy side of things. I have my train hard, party harder. So I'm a little bit yin and yang, which keeps me balanced.
Oh, I love that. I love the yin and yang situation, and how, it's so interesting how it also kind of applies to your professional life, because you started in one way and then meeting the world and seeing new experiences kind of led you to where you are now. Different situation, definitely different from working in hospitality than working in an office space. So it's a really great, career path, that how it went around. I love that. And shaping your career, how has your professional experience defined you as a person? How would you say, and the professional that you are today?
I think, first of all, I in the beginning, I didn't know what I wanted to be, other than this good-looking businesswoman in London with the high-rise buildings. But I didn't really have this childhood dream, or didn't really have a clear path that I wanted to go along. So from very early on, I think I looked into what do I like, and then what is out there that could fit to what I like. And this is how my career really started. That's when I said, oh, I went to a job fair and there was this master's in tourism and marketing. And I thought, oh, I think I like that. I'll try it. And with many things, my professional career has shown me that sometimes you don't really know the job ahead, or you don't really know what you like or what you're good at. And sometimes you just need to try it and see whether it's for you, and then adjust along the way. And this has really helped me to slowly find my way into what I'm doing now. And I wouldn't have expected it even 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Before joining Merkle, I wouldn't have thought I'll go into an operations role in marketing technology. That sounded all very alien to me. But just following this path of, I think, my strengths, this is good, this is exciting, this is calling me, and it seems interesting to me, has helped me to find the right positions over time. And I think also in terms of the positions I had, so when I started in London and also in Barcelona, I didn't have a job. I came to a new country without a job, and I knew, let's just start somewhere, get your foot in the door, and then again, adjust along the way. I started in business development roles. So it was either getting new suppliers to join a loyalty scheme. It was using my language skills to work on foreign markets, so mainly on the DACH markets. And then really getting to know the organization, the business, connecting with people outside of my normal 9 to 5 role, which is a lot easier in American or maybe English companies. That was also one reason why I left Germany, because it was back then, 15 years ago, a lot more strict, a bit more regimented. Everyone is in their own office. So I really, connected on after work drinks or informal, whatever, chats and sessions and meetings, and then met people, learned about other positions in the role, and moved on to marketing roles, account management roles, client service roles. And really, they were quite similar in a way of working with the client, consulting, hearing what the problem statements are, and then finding a way or a solution with the means that your company, your agency has to offer. And that then brought me to marketing roles, senior marketing roles at Vistaprint, where I worked in the marketing strategy department on global go-to-market. So again, connecting markets, departments within our company, but also external providers. And lately to an operations role, where I'm connecting a lot of people in the Barcelona office on managed service marketing technology deliveries. So in a way, to short how I'm shaping my career and how my career is shaping me, is to always be open to new things, but also evaluate the situation you're in and adjust along the way.
It's interesting that you say that, because we see, as humans in a very young age, we feel this need and this urge to have our path determined by the time we graduate high school, or have everything clear at a very young age. And there's so many circumstances that can take you from one way to the other without any sort of, heads up or any sort of idea of what is happening. But it can definitely, it's just little changes that life can throw our way, and those kind of help us find our place in our daily life. And that shapes us, not just professionally, but also as human beings, learning from different experiences, different cultures. And I like how you mentioned that, if you had been in a completely different location than where you were, it would have been a different path. It's not just something about decisions that you take, but also your circumstances in your day to day, and even in just your life. The difference it makes to be born in one place instead of another can be really interesting. And okay, so I'm curious, like, what are the challenges that you've been involved in? I'd love to know how you get out of your comfort zone and kind of face those challenges, or challenges that you've witnessed yourself as a growing professional around you.
Yeah, so in terms of challenging myself, I think it's a little bit my personality, that I'm quite ambitious. I like trying new things. I want to be the best I can and outperform myself, if at all. So I wouldn't say I'm very competitive with others, that I need to be the best in class, but I usually try to be the best of myself, which has led me to go to London without a job and just try things. That was I mean, out of your comfort zone is pretty much everything that you're not already mastering, that you don't know what exactly it will be. So there's so many things that could count as out of your comfort zone. Coming to Barcelona, I had very little Spanish. I learned it in university, but then didn't speak it in 5 years, and no job and no Spanish. And I think initially that's why I never thought I would come to Barcelona. My plan was to go to Australia and work in an English-speaking culture and market, and I wouldn't have thought of coming to Spain. But back then I met my ex-boyfriend, and well, love makes you try things. And I'm very happy I did, because then I found out, okay, in Barcelona it is a bit different. You can grow or progress in your career with English and then learn Spanish along the way. And later on, I started working on some, well, it's never been a Spanish role, but I used my Spanish more and more. And now I even use it in one-to-ones with team members, or in some meetings where it's mainly Spanish people. They happen in Spanish. So that was a very gradual transition. I also, at some point, decided when I was in Vistaprint, I want to study a master. So I'm still on the private side, how I'm getting out of my comfort zone. And I did that whilst working full-time at Vistaprint. And at that point, there was also a charity initiative of running a marathon in Africa, in Sierra Leone, for street child. And I was like, well, that's a once in a lifetime chance. So I did this all at once. I did a master, I trained for a marathon in Africa, and I had a full-time job. Looking back now, I don't know how I did it. But I also say, like, you grow with the challenges, some that you master, but also if there are challenges you don't master, I believe you're still growing. And yeah, just pushing myself to do better, and sometimes to just keep going. For example, with piano, I'm sometimes a bit disappointed for not being further. If I say, oh, I've been playing piano for 4 years, and people are like, oh, you must be really good, then I'm like, well, I have 1 hour a week, and sometimes I don't practice in between hours, but then I'm quite happy for still going and making progress. And
That's
in my
great.
professional life, it's basically taking on roles where I thought, I don't know really if I have the skills. I don't have the experience necessarily, either in the sector or in the scope of the role. But then what I've learned over time is that you need to trust the people around you, and you need to trust yourself. So the people, if somebody thinks in an HR department or the hiring manager that your CV looks good, you're there for an interview, and then afterwards you get a job offer, somebody thinks you're equipped to do the role. So don't doubt yourself. And if it is somewhat exciting and a little bit scary, it's probably the right thing. And that's how I personally identified my challenges. Recently, last year, came up with a term of being like scar-sighted, so a bit scared and excited. I feel that's, I mean, if you're totally mortified or terrified of something and you get a bit of a panicky feeling about it, maybe not. Don't push yourself that much. But if you feel that slight pinch of excitement, don't really know what's coming, but I can feel this could be good, then I personally went for it, and it always paid off. And then in a way, we always tend to make our decisions work as well. So either then you adjust along the way, or you really find your path within the role. And most of the roles, I mean, if you read a role description, they're very generic. And then at least go for the interviews and find out a little bit more about the role and see the people that work in the companies. I've also gotten a lot of information out of just how people are, what the culture is in the company, and then you can make a decision when you have a few more data points. But usually I wouldn't roll out things straight away just by reading a job description or hearing that somebody says, oh, I've got this to offer, and it sounds so alien. You're like, oh, no. I usually go and listen to it and then decide. So yeah, those were the challenges. So, and in my professional life, I think the most recent challenge was when I joined Merkle 3 years ago, not that recent, but back then my background was marketing strategy, account management, client service, and I was asked to be leading the managed services, so campaign setup of the marketing technology of Merkle. And I had not a lot of knowledge around the different technologies that Merkle is using, nor around their managed services. And it is a very operational heavy role as well. So that was a challenge. So it was new on many levels. And the ultimate challenge was that I would be leading quite a big team of people. And throughout my career, I always said I like connecting people, connecting with people, and I'm better in a team. I'm good, but if you leave me alone to brainstorm for 2 weeks, I would fail. I'm much better if I can bounce off people. So I always knew I wanted to work in a team, but also lead a team. I thought I could be good at it. And the challenges were to become a people manager. Many people experience that is a bit chicken egg, because it might sound, or people say, well, you don't have the experience managing people. Maybe we are looking for somebody with experience, but how do you get the experience if you don't practice? So here the challenge was to really find a way to get experience in, well, other roles, not as part of my main role, but to find the experience. And I think there's so many ways we can do this nowadays. We can join voluntary groups or any other organizations and take a little bit of a lead role there and try and bring people together. And especially if it is volunteering, be it as part of the organization or in your free time, you're organizing something. It's even harder sometimes to get people's buy-in, to motivate people, to have a bit of a structure as well, because you're not officially named the lead of a group or the head of something, and you don't want to come in there just delegating and directing people. So that's where I found my first experiences with the social committee at Vistaprint, with the Women at Work group at Vistaprint, Women in Leadership group at Merkle, where I found experiences of managing teams and people. And I had a few direct reports, maybe 2, 3, but my latest role is looking after a team of, well, it's a total of 100 people in Barcelona, and we share it between my colleague and myself. So it's approximately 50 people that work with me. And that was a big change in scope. So that was a scary challenge, i.e. a very big team, technology I didn't know about, and operations that I also didn't know about. But then somebody trusted that I would be a good candidate for this role. I was headhunted by a contact that I worked with in London, and it turned out to be a really good move for me. So I'm very happy I did that step.
That sounds so great. I love how you mentioned that, out of your comfort zone is everything that you're not mastering. Because if you look at it from that perspective, we can say that we get out of our comfort zone every day. Every day you try something new. Every day you're doing something different. So you can always, you're constantly learning and you're constantly growing as a person with all of the things that you say. We have a
definitely
comment.
just to build on this, for example, with certain things in life, we expect that this is the way it is. You can't always try everything. For example, being a parent, there's no trial for this. You go for it and you are a parent, and then you see what happens. But somehow in our professional career, we always think like, oh, I should have experiences and maybe I should be better equipped to do this job. But sometimes, I mean, there are certain basics that need to be ticked, but sometimes you just need to go for it and see how it plans out.
I love that. I love that because we also see that in so many cases, people don't apply to their dream job or to their dream company because of exactly that same fear of, not being able to fulfill the role to a completion. And we see that it's mostly women who have that struggle in, having a lot of imposter syndrome and having all of these situations. But it's about exactly that. If you feel a little bit of excitement inside of you and there's some motivation for you to, push yourself out of your comfort zone and say, I maybe not know this, but I can learn from this and I can definitely grow. And this is going to help me. You can find the experiences that you need in different ways. It doesn't have to be a professional work environment. It can be volunteering, like you said, where you can not only submerge yourself in the experience that you're looking for, but so much more knowledge and so many more opportunities and stuff. We have a question from Erika. Oh, go for it. And then I'll read her question right out.
Yeah, and just quickly on this one as well. And there are also people that you can ask for help. So if you are finding yourself in a role and you notice, okay, I do need a bit more skills on those 3 sectors, there's nothing wrong in asking your manager or somebody else, Are there any great trainings? Can you recommend something I can do here? Or try and find a buddy in the company that helps you understanding the organizational setup, or a mentor that you connect with once a month. It can be very small. It doesn't, mentoring sometimes sounds like very big, but with small little things, you can find the information, and people usually are happy to help and point you their way. Then you take the initiative of taking the courses. But yeah, don't be shy to ask for help if you do identify, oh, I do have a gap here. But there are different ways of filling them afterwards.
I love that. That's so amazing because yeah, it's the gaps are there to be filled. They're not there to cause fear or to be an issue for you. It's about learning to grow from that.
Yes.
Erika has a comment that she just says, what a journey, which is completely true. I mean, it's definitely been a long journey that you've taken to arrive where you are, and it's been pretty interesting, and it's been really beautiful to see how you have grown about that. And we have the question about what a life work balance, the typical, how do you create balance in your everyday life to maintain the whole work hard, party harder situation that you mentioned?
Yeah. So it is very hard to always have a balance. Probably I had that conversation just last week when I was part of a panel discussion as well with one of our CEOs, and we've asked her the same question. And she spoke about work-life harmony, because I think it's the overall picture that you try to get in sync, but it's very hard to always have a balance, because sometimes the private life needs more attention and you just need to focus on this, which is doable if work is going business as usual, or there's a peak at work that you really need to focus on, which you can master as well if your private life is okay and you can make some cuts there. It gets difficult when both are happening at the same time, right? If there's something in your private situation with your family that needs your attention, and work gets really stressful there as well. And in those cases, it is very important to know your energy limits, like for myself, and to know the little signs before it's too late. Because I think many of my friends, I've seen it with business owners, but also other friends, have the tendency to think, oh, let me just finish this. This is like a peak. Let me get through this, and then it's going to be okay. But sometimes things happen and some other things, and then it's a long period of time. So I'm trying to make sure I'm not stressed over a very long period of time constantly, be it privately or with work. There should be peaks and troughs, and to then get the overall harmony. So I'm focusing on this, seeing early signs. So early signs, for example, for me are I'm starting to feel very unmotivated about work, or I'm dreading maybe logging in on Mondays, or I see my email account building up and feeling a little overwhelmed. Those are signs for me that I'm starting to get to this tired stage where I don't feel very excited, a bit energyless. And then usually what I'll try to do is to find my balance. And there are different ways to finding that, and different things work for different people. For me, it's very important to keep my exercise routine, whatever it is, but I'm working from home. And for me, it's very important to at least 3 times a week, at better 4, to do something else, go for a run, cycle, swim, something to recharge my batteries. For other people, it might be meeting friends, reading a book. It's just finding the time to recharge your batteries along the way, to make sure the battery is not so empty that you then struggle to recharge it. It also comes a little bit with experience to learn, okay, what is that level for myself? When have I overstepped the border, and how much can I take? But I think it is a good routine to try and have little peaks and troughs. And worst case, if you're really not feeling well, speak to your manager or to your company and see if you can finish a Friday early or take some holidays, even though you didn't plan any, but you might need a day off or something, which works much better than just pushing through it with half batteries. I feel I'm doing a better job just taking a full time out if I can, and then coming back recharged. So it's a little bit energy level control. And what else do I do? I know I've learned a little bit when my productive times are, and then not feeling bad if you do something else when you know it's not your productive time. Working from home really helped me, because I noticed around lunchtime, it's my downtime. And if I can then maybe take a lunch break, that's 2 hours, do the wash, go for a run, do something else, I then feel much more energized if I can put that hour on at the end of the day or in the beginning of the day. So that helped me a lot to not feel guilty if I'm not logging in for 2 hours, because I know overall I'm doing my work. It needs to get done. Nobody's is checking what I do and how long I work, but it will get done. But I'm focusing on the times when I'm productive. So I'm trying to get that balance there. And yeah, staying flexible and open-minded along the way again. So don't freak out. I'm trying not to freak out. So I'm trying to, have this trust in myself that I'll work it out. I'll ask for help. I change, or I'll do whatever it takes to work it out, and then deal with things. So that's how I'm trying not to freak out.
That's great. Yeah, learning not to freak out is definitely an art form on its own. And, it's something that a lot of people work with and struggle with. I think me personally, I tend to freak out and then realize like, no, wait, I had it under control. It was totally fine. So there's a lot of that situation. Do you feel like as you have scaled in a company, it became harder to balance your work-life balance, or was it something that you maintained constant through your time as you learned to, improve professionally, personally?
I think when you grow either in responsibilities or in scope, I feel the unforeseeable part of your work becomes bigger. So if, for example, if you work with people, you can't plan things, and there's a much bigger factor of something changing than if you have your set structure of things to do that you're executing yourself. You're only depending on yourself to get the work done. But as soon as you deliver through others, work in a team, or take on bigger scope projects where you coordinate across many departments, this factor of something went wrong, there's an escalation, or we need to adjust gets bigger. So I felt I had to deal with this. You need to get to a point where well, I will never get to the end of my to-do list. I will always feel I've not completed all that I wanted to because something else came up. There's this ability to swap and helicopter in and out that I had to develop to not be overwhelmed. So when you then oversee different teams, you need to be close to the detail for some, but then helping others seeing the bigger picture, and connecting dots and other people. So it was a challenge for me in the beginning to see my to-do list growing, to constantly having to reprioritize my to-dos. Even at the beginning of the day when you feel like, okay, this is more or less, there was another meeting that got put in, there was something else that came up. That was quite challenging to master. I think I just learned it along the way that, let me deal with this. Let's keep some buffer times. Let's make sure I have focus time, if at all, not to plan any meeting for 2 hours, have them in blocks. Something might come up, but ideally not as much, or maybe then just a short interruption. So it's a little bit of time management and how to work with all these unforeseen things that seem to just come flying at you.
Of course. That's a great trick, just to kind of set some time for yourself to focus on your priorities and kind of organize your ideas so that you can not have to be at the end of the day just like, oh, this to-do list got longer throughout the day, but you managed to get some things out of the way.
And I think also, I just think of that now, I had to learn to really let people know the things that I can't do, because I have this tendency of, yes, I can do it. I think it takes me half an hour, but it then takes you 1 hour, and then you sit till the end of the night. To really tell them upfront, oh, I think this might take a bit longer, or can you help me? And then especially at the very beginning, when you start leading a team, delivering through others sometimes makes you feel like you're not doing anything, but it's other things that you are doing, right? You're thinking of the overall strategy, you're giving direction, you're connecting the dots, you're creating the environment for people to be able to fix the problem. And even though you might be able to fix it yourself and do that overview quickly yourself in Excel, you need to see, okay, no, I need to focus on other things. And this is the thing I need to direct, to delegate, and make sure the person has all the tools to do it, but don't feel bad about delegating it. So that was also something I had to learn when more and more things came. Where do you focus?
Yeah, that's really great, because of course, when you know that you can get the job done, it can be difficult to kind of let go of it after you've, experienced it and mastered it in a way. But then it's the whole situation where we go back to, how do you get the experience if you don't, if you don't have it? So it's helping others as well. This is what I've done. This is how you do it. This is how you can learn from this. And it's a great way to kind of grow yourself, but also helping others as well as learning and growing. So I think that's really great.
Yeah.
I just want to take a quick moment to remind our viewers that we have a Q&A round at the end. So if anyone has any questions for Annett, send them over to the Q&A window and we will get them over with, well, once we're over here. Also, Erika is asking, do you think it's possible to work 9 to 5 and still scale in an organization? I think this is a great question, considering what you just mentioned now, how you take on maybe too much work and then you find yourself working some extra hours, but then you're also learning how to, separate your time and be able to know, okay, from noon until 2, I'm not going to be able to do much work, so I'll get it done later on. I'll be more functional. How do you feel about working strictly 9 to 5 in a schedule? And do you feel that's going to help you scale in organizations in general?
Well, it depends as well on the type of organization. For example, if you work with different markets and your role involves connecting with different markets at different times, 9 to 5 might not be feasible if you then take on a leadership role and it doesn't work because the markets aren't online. You can't, maybe the company is trying, but somehow you're missing out on those meetings that are happening. Somebody then updates you afterwards, but it's not the same as if you were in the room. Maybe 9 to 5, where I say working 8 hours. I think that is doable if you're taking on leadership positions. But you probably have to be a little bit flexible around the timing and be willing to go the extra mile whenever it's asked to. If there are any escalations, that's also part of the role, that you need to be available a little bit more, but it shouldn't be business as usual. It shouldn't happen 4 days a week that you are required to work until midnight. But I believe working 8 hours and growing in your career up to CEO level even, or managing director, I think nowadays, with the way where the market and culture is going and how the workforce is organized and the focus on productive work and outcomes rather than hours, I feel that there is an opportunity to keep that. Right now, for example, I've always said, well, I don't want to have a crazy schedule and I don't know if a CEO role is for me, because I do want this work-life harmony. But after speaking to our CEO last week, she seems to have that. Yes, busy times, sometimes travel, but she also has all these other things. She has a family, she has her hobbies, and having those role models also helps you seeing, okay, it is doable. And also then speaking to the person made me understand that, well, she's just a woman. She's just a person that deals with personal issues and so on, because sometimes you see leaders just in the all hands meetings when they're very prepared, or you read about them or you hear about them from big pitches, but you don't see that they also take the time off to bring their kids to the guarderia or do other things. And they also fit that into their day-to-day. So I believe it is possible. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because I like that, because it's not just what we see. You have a CEO and you see them and you're like, oh, they have this crazy schedule and I don't think they can manage it. But once you actually, the things, you open the curtains and there's so many things that you don't see, that they have, their own personal life and how they manage it and how they can do it, and being able to, have role models that you can visualize and project yourself onto and be like, well, if she can do it, then why can't I? And it's definitely very much a motivational part of growth, being able to see people do what you want to do and achieve your goals in their own way. I love that. Well, I mean, looking back in your career, this is a question from Catherine, which is great. What would you have done differently? Like, what advice would you give your younger self? Which is a great piece of question. Yeah.
Probably to trust in myself more and go for roles that I back then thought wouldn't be for me, wouldn't be a good fit, would be too stressful, because I thought, oh no, I don't know, I want my time for my sport. And then I didn't go for the role without even maybe going for the interview or finding out how the team works, what the culture of the company is. So yeah, trusting myself a bit more that I could do the things, and opening my eyes even more to new opportunities and going for them.
So, would you say that that's your final piece of advice for the audience, or is there any other amazing tips that you have for us?
Oh, I don't know. I think yes, people, you say you are what you believe, and that really is the case, right? If you're probably limiting yourself, you're the person that limits yourself the most with your beliefs, with what you think you can do, with what you think you want to do. So here it really, you need to start also to build up that trust in yourself. For example, if you know, oh, well, I always snooze, you believe, well, I'm a person that always snoozes. And then I think that there are sometimes ways where we need to trick ourselves and find, no, we can find the discipline. And once, after a few days of discipline, it becomes a habit, and habits build slowly. So I do believe that, just challenge your own beliefs, or the things you tell yourself, not the good things, but the limiting beliefs. I think challenge them sometimes, or just question, why do I think that? Is it because I snoozed twice out of 5 days this week? So that's one thing. I also believe, for me, nutrition helps a lot, and I love my chocolate, but I noticed that certain things impact my concentration levels and how good I feel about myself. And yes, I am yin and yang, but I am trying to do the things that work well for me, and try to be on the healthier side. So that has helped me to also cope with stress and just be relaxed there. Also, I do think you can do anything, you just can't do everything. So here, this is about really finding out what excites you, where do you want to focus on, and then you can do it. If you put the time and the energy in, you can do it. You can find ways to evolve in this way. But you probably have to make trade-offs, and you need to find the things that you want to focus on. Trying to do everything I failed very much at it, even though I would love to. And yeah, you grow with your challenges. So then just sometimes push yourself even more. You do need to put the time where your strengths are. So don't, when you push yourself out of comfort zone, maybe don't do something that's completely, you're not good at Excel. Don't put yourself into doing a finance course, because that's out of your comfort zone. Find something that's out of your comfort zone, but playing on your strength. And I think probably you get a better return of investment there. And yeah, just try something new and be prepared to adjust along the way. I think that would be my advice.
That's great. And do you have any book recommendations that you could leave us with, so that we can maybe get some more inspiration aside from this wonderful talk?
Well, I have to admit, I'm not a big reader, because I don't make the time. Let's say, yeah, you're conscious of making time for it, but I'm very active. I'm taking the bike to work. I'm at home very seldomly, and then I practice piano or I clean the flat or something. So I don't take the time to read. I loved nonfiction, for example, J.C. Maxwell, Leadership. That has helped me a lot when I started to take on the bigger team. I also did some other courses and trainings, but that book I find very easy to read, some good hands-on tips that you can apply, even though you might not be leading a team, but working with your colleagues. It even helps you in smaller settings. I also liked a book, I Know What You Think. It's a German book, but I'm translating the title now, from Thorsten Havener. I can send it over. It's around things, how people, how do I say, body language that shows you if people are nervous, if they're thinking, if they're doubting things. So looking into, and I'm not a master that, because the theory is there. Then you have to practice it to see the little micro signs, to see the eyes going up left or right. And if you don't practice it, yeah, I can't really read minds yet. So those I really liked. And then fiction books, I like Stieg Larsson's a bit of action, or all the series that he's done. And I listen to podcasts because then, yeah, on the bikes, I'm quite active. So I like, hold on, I need some water. My voice is fading.
No, yeah.
I like The Impact Theory from Tom Billieux. He has, I think, once a week or even more frequently, he has topics around self-growth and personal development that I really like on Spotify. And also Meghan Markle, she started a podcast on Spotify as well. It's called Archetypes, where she touches on gender questions and all the archetypes that sometimes that women are boxed in, or labels that are given to her. And she interviews celebrities like Serena Williams or Mariah Carey. Those were the last two. So I find them very easy to listen to. It's an hour or 45 minutes. And Megan has a great way of storytelling. So they're really, really easy to read. And then I signed up to Mind Valley, which is an online learning community. And there I'm doing the Silver Ultramind course, which I find super inspiring. It's around finding the ways to meditate, to find your center, to enter better levels of mind, so your subconscious, where you can focus a lot without having to sit for 2 hours and meditate. Because yeah, I'm so active, I need my action. This really works for me. So those are the things I'm doing at the moment, and usually touching books when I'm on holiday, and then they're probably nonfiction.
Okay. Well, perfect. I mean, I said maybe not too much book of recommendation, but definitely just some great recommendations that you're giving us here with podcasts and with so many other things. So I think definitely a great added value to end up this talk. I think that's probably all the time that we have today. I think I don't want to it has been amazing talking to you, Annett, and I really hope that everyone here enjoyed hearing from you as much as I did. I think it's incredibly inspirational to hear your story and to hear how you gain your experience, and how you're constantly learning to push yourself and learning new things, taking piano lessons when you're not, forced by your parents at 5 years old. It's very encouraging to see somebody do so. It's definitely a great challenge to take on professionally as well, to just continue to always grow and prove yourself. So I thank you so much for being part of the series, and thank you, of course, everyone who joined us today and joined the conversation. If anyone wants to reach out to you, is there any way that they can do so? I know that we have your contact information through LinkedIn on our Elevate Women website, where we'll also be posting this recording to share with everyone. Is there anything you'd like to add to close off, or?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I really enjoyed the talk. And yes, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I do check it every now and then, but I do get the notifications. And yeah, would love to hear more. Or if there are any other follow-up questions, I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Now, and we'll see you later. We hope to hear back from you soon, and maybe learn about more developments in your story in the future. That would be amazing as well. But for now, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Same to you all as well.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.